If you're a vacation rental company and social media planning feels like a last minute scramble, or if you're posting stuff and you feel like it doesn't get seen by the people you want it to be seen by, I'm sitting down. Actually, I'm standing up, but I'm talking with our social media manager here at Ankerpoint. Also happens to be my brother. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to plan a monthly schedule for social media and the most valuable type of content to post. So Jesse, if someone's watching this and like, I don't know where to start, what to begin with, it's just daunting. What would you recommend starting with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think sometimes it's difficult to plan something out because we want to get it just right, or we're wondering what the best post is, but then we don't end up posting anything. Or maybe you're one of those that you'll just pump out content because you feel like something should be on there, but they're not actually landing because there's no strategic plan for what you're posting or why you're posting it. I like this quote I heard by Craig Rochelle. It says, "Everyone ends up somewhere, but few people end up somewhere on purpose." And so when we're starting with like, how do we plan? What is this month going to look like? I think a big picture is a good place to start. And what I mean by that is obviously your end all goal. I think everyone wants more direct bookings, right? That's our goal. But before you get there, people aren't going to just go from hearing about you to booking. Most likely, you've got to start by getting your name out to people. You got to engage people, and then once they know who you are and you're kind of building that trust, some of our social media efforts should be to grow that trust with with you and with your client. Why should they trust that you're going to take care of their vacation? And so some of that's going to be like adding value to why it would be a good choice to go with you, and then also content geared towards sales. Obviously, we it might be easy to just want to post everything sales, but I would definitely make sure that when you're looking at a big picture, yes, the end all goal is to get more direct bookings, but it's important that we also build these people's trust, add value to their vacation, maybe things going on in the area. There's a lot of ways we can do that, and but yeah, I'd say that's where we start.
So it's building trust, and then also you want to obviously get them to book with you. So, and there's a balance of that. What does that actually look like practically when you're posting? Like, give me an example of one that's building trust versus one that's trying to make a sale. Is there a difference? Is there a clear difference?
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think sometimes building trust is just not sounding too salesy on every post. If they realize you're real people who care about the area that they're wanting to vacation in, maybe you have a good understanding of what would make for a good day trip in the area, or anything that could add value to their stay, or even just telling them that, if you've been around for a while, tell them that. Let them know that you're happy to give them tips on what could better their stay or things like that. I think that adds trust and builds trust with potential guests. But as far as the dynamic between posts that are just to sell and some that are to build trust or engage people more, I think that's where the plan really becomes really practical, is because we're coming up with something from in advance, to where we know that I'm not just going to post whatever comes to my mind next. I have a whole month lined out, and I do have a combination of sales posts, of area information, of maybe if you have blogs on your website, you're promoting some of those blogs that give value to people's stay, or whatever that looks like. Local events, there's plenty of things that we could do to kind of live in that balance.
So walk me through a sales type post? What does that look? Because you're saying building value. It could just be helping people with the area or whatever it may be. But what does a sales post look like? Because and I know I'm playing the devil's advocate here, just asking, what does that look like? But I know we've talked about this before, and trying to figure out the best way to do a sales post, but not make it feel like, get our stuff, buy our stuff. There's still some strategic, you're still adding value in these posts, right? So walk me through how you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that that is a good point. It's not when you do a what we would think of as a sales post. It doesn't mean that all there is just a big button that says "book this cabin." We still want to put immerse people into an experience of this is what your vacation is going to feel like. This is what it's going to look like. So using picturesque language that will like draw out like, oh, okay, this is the experience I'm about to have. This is what it would look like for my family to come experience a weekend at this cabin or at this resort or wherever your properties are. So I think, yeah, even if it's a salesy post, you still want to use pictures that are, when you're choosing cabin pictures, you might not want to overload everybody with every picture you have on your website. Of course, some social platforms only allow a few pictures and things like that anyway. But when you do think of the things that they're going to want to enjoy together, if you're trying to target families with a 3-bedroom cabin, and they have a few kids, maybe highlight some of the amenities that they can enjoy together. If there's a fire pit area, a place that they can go hang out outside in the evenings together, and things like that, where you're promoting not just here's the cabin, here's the front of it, and here's the living room only. Maybe what does that experience look like, and then use your caption, use the space that you have to be able to communicate about that property in a way that really takes them into what it would feel like to be there.
So where would you find the balance when you're writing the description? You mentioned utilizing that really well. Where do you strike the balance of telling them about it, but then also calling them to action? Because I know you want them to take an action, and the best way to do that is actually asking them. Some people would just say, "Look at this," and there's literally no link. It's just a photo, and people don't know what to do with that. They're like, "Oh, cool! Like, what is this business?" And they may have, you want to make it as easy as possible for people to take action. So, what is your kind of method of making sure you optimize that caption?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we always want to make a very clear call to action. Even though we don't want to be overly salesy, that doesn't mean we don't want people to know what to do. Once they, let's say they do, it does resonate with them. They're picturing themselves at this cabin, and it's just like, if it's not clear where to go next to even potentially book, then they probably scroll forward. People on social media, they as we all know, you just endlessly scrolling and it takes a lot to even get someone's attention. So if you've gotten their attention, you definitely want to capitalize by having a clear call to action. And the balance with that, I think too, is the call to action doesn't always just have to say book now either. It can be, using words like experience this or bring your family or things like that. It still is a call to booking, but it's also paired with that experience type wording.
Okay, so we've got some clear understanding of different types of posts and what those might look like. How do you start compiling a month and planning out a month? Like, what's your ratio of value posts versus sales posts, or do you have what's the strategy there?
Yeah, so you want to make sure that your plans align with your company goals, and your goals may be shifting. In some ways, you'll have the same end all goal, but you also have seasonal goals, and you have quarterly goals and things like that. So make sure that your social planning is also aligning with that. Something I do when I plan, so I just recently planned out this upcoming month's posts for some clients, and I wanted to make sure it was diversified. But one of the first things I'll do is even just see what's going on this month. Are there any holidays like in May? You've got Mother's Day, you've got Memorial Day, and some other things that you can promote there. So there's a couple of days of posts, and you can just plan on that, and then think about local events. What's going on in your area that may draw people in, or at least that you can just promote to show some of the community aspect of your area. And so I want to give you just maybe a few categories you can even pull from. Sometimes if you're just thinking one post at a time, it can be really difficult to really think about what do I want to post next. But if you have a handful of categories you're pulling from, that can be really useful. I think that's
Yeah.
what I do when I plan a social media month. So you do want to have a few times that you're promoting certain properties. So you might have property highlights as one of your categories. You might have along with that, you might have types of properties. If you have some that have swimming pool access, or you have some that are pet friendly, or things like that, you maybe make a whole post not about one specific property, but about all of your properties that are pet friendly, or this or that.
Let me just ask a quick question in there. You manage several clients, and do you have a theme that's like, oh, this type of post does well for regardless of the client, or does it matter where that client's at? Is it, or their audience base? Like, yeah, give us an inside scoop of like what's the
Yeah, sure.
best post.
Yeah, that really is something you have to look at your kind of see what for you is working, because it is pretty different for different clients that I work with and run their social media. Some clients respond really well. They already have we kind of talked about those different stages. Sometimes you're just trying to get some brand awareness. Sometimes you're trying to engage people, and then sometimes you're just trying to get more bookings from those that are already engaged. Well, some of those clients that already have good engagement, I'll throw out engagement questions. Think about questions about the area. When was the last time you visited this area, or what just something fun. And those can be some of the most interactive posts that we have. Just people commenting and tagging other people in it, because they want to build community around whatever that question is. But for some clients that don't have that much awareness, you're maybe in the stage of building right now, it could kind of fall flat, and I might not do that quite as often. You can still kind of try to build a community around that, but sometimes if you don't see too many comments, it might feel a little awkward, maybe even. So we'll talk about this too, just strategizing, not just based on your goals, but what's actually working, what's landing.
How do you know it's land? I mean, do you just base it off of people liking it and commenting on it? I guess that's the main factor, or no?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. There's a lot of ways that you can do this. I would look into, depending on your company size and your budget, what kind of tools do you want to use to be able to really understand how your social media is doing. A quick and easy way for like Facebook and Instagram is just to go into Meta and to look at the analytics there. They have all kinds of resources for you to understand how your posts are performing, maybe some of your top posts, and you can go about as deep as you want to into understanding some of those things. Yeah, I'd even encourage you to listen to podcasts and how to optimize your social media. I like listening to the social media marketing podcast. I get a lot of good insights out of there too, because even when I'll learn things about updates. Even if you think you kind of understand how to read and understand analytics, some of the social media platforms that we are posting on will change how they do things on the back end, and it may vary, really how we understand how our posts are actually performing. Thinking about things like, what does reach actually mean when it comes to Facebook? What is it? Is that how many people are viewing it? Is that how many people are scrolling past it? Is people that are actually engaging with it? Things like that are really helpful to know when you're talking about doing that. And it can be overwhelming to think about measuring every post that you do. And so maybe just starting somewhere. What's a measure that you want to use that this is what I want, and maybe see if you can find either posting or some type of analytics that give you that information, and maybe pour more into that. If you feel like you're flooding that type of content that's performing the way you want it to, maybe dial it back a little bit, and don't overload in certain areas. There's just, but you always have to be measuring whatever doesn't get measured. As I've heard it said, if it's not measured, it doesn't. I don't remember the quote, so just set it up for failure. It's not gonna grow. That's basically
what gets measured grows.
Is that it?
Or something like that. What gets measured improves. So you gotta measure what, and understanding what to measure, because it's not only just likes and comments too, because you could get a ton of likes and comments. And there's certain platforms like TikTok, for instance, would get for certain industries and niches, they'd get a ton uh, as far as companies go, not just cabin rentals or property rentals. They get a ton of people engaging with it and liking, but they never get any sort of sale from it. And so, like, you may be getting a lot of likes or comments on something, but it may not convert to a lot of sales. Something else will. But both matter. It's not like you don't do that thing anymore, because the more people who engage with you will maybe engage with you more when you do have something that does convert better, like the ones that are just highlighting a property, and people, the only thing to do is click on that property and look at it. And more people would be more likely to book that, as opposed to seeing a cool video that's just like, oh, that's awesome, and they may not be inspired to go look at a cabin because of that video you had. But so looking at conversions and bookings obviously is really important too. Okay, so let's try to get a little, maybe a little more practical and do like a role play thing here. As far as, let's just say I'm a client coming onto Ankerpoint, and I say I would like to post 3 times a week. What kind of questions would you ask? How would you start to figure out how to start posting for me as a client? And how would you start planning out this month?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's as much as information as I can learn about the client from their lips is going to help inform the way that I post, the tone that I use in my posting, because a lot of times we want to automate things. We like automation. We like using these amazing tools that we have, like AI, but we pretty easily in the world we live in today, things just kind of blend together because it all sounds similar. And we don't want to get away from those specific things that make a client unique. We actually want to press into those things. So every one of our clients has something unique about them, whether it be the experience that they have in the industry, how long they've been there, specific niche that they have within their field that they like to promote more. Maybe it's a certain area, and there's a lot of things like that. So any questions, any information I can learn directly from the client about themselves, I want to use that to inform the way that we generally post and on a broader scale. But to get more practical, like you're saying, something I do for our clients is I create a document that I entitled the Monthly Social Planning and Guidelines. And in this document, I have information like the agreement that we've made with them. How many posts are we wanting to post per month or per week? And then any specific notes they've given me. These are my goals. Either it might divide that up between short-term goals and long-term goals. So if I know, here's an example. One of our clients wants us to promote large cabins in this season right now. So as I'm going into doing cabin highlights or property highlights, I'm not just picking random ones. I'm making sure that a lot of those are larger cabins or larger properties. Another thing I do when I check when I'm trying to create this document is I look into the website, try to find resources, try to find different aspects of things that I can highlight to pull from. If they have blogs, I'll look at those. If they have area information, if they have anything unique to them or just cool things that would be worth highlighting and promoting, that's good to know. Look at their specials page. If they have any promotions running, it's a great thing to have as well. Also in this document, something that I do at the bottom of it is just create a monthly template. And this is kind of what we talked about before with different types of posting. And rather than filling out the exact, what that post is going to be, this is where I create my monthly plan every month. I just go back to this document. I make sure that all my posts are in line with what the client, or if you're creating your own, make sure they're in line with your goals. Maybe put your own goals in this document and make sure that you're posting in alignment with those goals. So in this last section of a generic monthly post planning, I've got the approximate, I'll have the general amount of days, the most amount of days that I would possibly be posting based on how much they want me to post per week. And I've got in here things like guest reviews, specials, property highlights, types of properties, local events, engagement questions. A lot of companies will have local connections with local things like attraction tickets or things like that. I'll promote those things. And then any type of user-generated content that we can get, that depends on the client, that depends on where you're at. But I would highly recommend if you can get engagement with people and join. It's one thing for you to say, this cabin's awesome and here's some great pictures of it. I think a very high quality picture of a property is awesome. An even less quality picture, but real people enjoying their stay and sharing it will go way further, because people want to people connect with people. And so as much as you can, I would put a lot of emphasis on anything we can get from people enjoying their stay or people sharing a review or anything like that. But that's kind of the process I go through when we take on a new client. And this is the ongoing process. Is I'll continue to sharpen what my understanding of what they're desiring, what their goals are, and how I can make the plan align with that month to month.
Yeah, the template that you're talking about, we'll have that in the description below so that people can download and start to fill it out themselves. And if you have any specific questions that you're hoping to get from this video and we didn't even cover it, because there's so much we could talk about, and there's so many details and nuances of figuring out how to optimize your social media that we definitely didn't cover. But if you have a question, let us know. You can email us, or you can leave a comment on this video, and we'll do our best to reply and get you an answer. But thank you, Jesse, for walking us through some of that stuff, and hopefully this helps you get your plans together and get more organized, so that social media is not so daunting, because it is a very good tool, and it's a good way to reach out to your people who have stayed with you or people who are looking to stay with you. So thank you again, Jesse.
Yeah, that's fun.